Hi, Miss Alyssa's class. Since Wednesday is Earth Day, I decided we'd read The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing except for old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere far from the end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler still lives here. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his door. He lurks in his lurkum cold under the roof where he makes his own clothes out of muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August he peeks out of his shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss 15 cents and a nail and the shell of a great-great-grandfather's snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes the most careful count to see if you paid him the proper amount. He hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole inside his grovelous grub. He grunts, I will call you by whisper my phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Slip! Down slips the whisper-ma-phone to your ear, and the Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose. He sounds as if he had a smallish bee up his nose. Now I tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time ago. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean and the song of swami swans rang out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place. I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruit. From the rippleless pond came the comfortable sound of humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what to do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffle tree with just one chop. And with great skillful skill, with the great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was a sort of man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax, and I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I am asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, What's that thing you have made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's nothing to cause it for alarm. I chopped just one tree and I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for a carpet, for a pillow, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you're crazy with greed. There's no one on earth that would buy that fool thneed. But the very next minute I proved he was wrong. For just that minute a chap came along. He thought that the thneed I'd knit was great. He happily bought it for $39.88. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor little guy. You can never tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Be quiet, if you please. I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radiophone. I put a quick call. I called my brothers, my uncles, my aunts, and I said, listen here. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch, turn left at Weehawken, and just sharp right on Stitch. And in no time at all, in the fancy factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of the truffula trees. Then, oh baby, oh, how my busyness did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 trees at one smacker. We were making thneed 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, I am the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you have seemed to be chopping as fast as you please. I am also in charge of the brown barbaloots who played in the shade of the barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruit. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go around, and my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. He's not very nice. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered my loads. Of the thneed I shipped out, I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everybody needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nonsense Lorax came back with more gripe. I am the Lorax, he coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled, he snarled and he sniffed. Onceler, he cried with the cruffless croak. Onceler, you're making such a smogless smoke. My poor swami swans, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in their throat. And so the Lorax said, please pardon my cough, they cannot live here. I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you have smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up. Let me say a few words about my gluppily glup. Your machinery chugs and the day and night without stop, making gluppity glup. Also sloppity slop, and what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you. You're glumping the pond where the hummingfish hum. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yip yap and say, bad, bad, bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs. In that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside the fields came a snickering smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard all the trees fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. He had chopped all those trees down. No more trees, no more thnees, no more work to be done. So in no time my uncles, my aunts, and everyone all waved me goodbye. They jumped into their cars and drove away under the smoke smugger's stars. Now all that was left, the bad-smelling sky, was my empty big factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, sad backward glance. As he lifted himself up by the seat of his pants, I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hiced himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here is in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I couldn't guess. That was long ago, but each day since that day I've sat here and worried away through the years while my buildings have fallen apart. I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It is not. So, catch, calls the onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last truffula seed and the truffula trees that everyone needs. Plant a new truffula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest protected from axe. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. I hope you guys enjoyed the Lorax book and enjoyed the Earth Day on Wednesday. Bye, guys.